Are you guys ready to get going?
Has everybody who is intending on speaking today signed up to speak on the list?
Is that the names over here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Alex, we are probably ready to go ahead and open the meeting. I just want to explain a little bit procedurally since we have probably a few witnesses, it looks like, on either side. It looks like we have 3 witnesses for and 3 witnesses against. So, if Alex, you want to go ahead and open up the meeting, we'll discuss how you guys kind of want to take that up.
Okay, perfect. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order.
Hold on. Let's make sure it's recording. Is it recording, Lila?
Are we recording? Okay. We're recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
Can we turn that down a little bit? Nope. Okay. There's your answer.
So like I kind of prefaced earlier, we do have a hearing today. It's up to the board if you guys want to do the PowerPoint first or the hearing first. We have 3 witnesses on either side. I tend to think it's probably most fair to let one witness go, then the other witness go, one from each side back and forth. We will give, both sides will have the opportunity to give a brief opening statement. That will be from me and from Mr. Ellis if he so chooses to add anything. This is a hearing not about whether someone's done something wrong or if there was a violation of ABC rules, but whether this permit should or should not be granted. So I would empower the board today. This is your discretion. This is your call. You can consider anything that's presented today, and I will also run through the factors and the rules with you today. Any questions before we kind of get going?
No, that's fine. Do we want to do a quick motion on the director's decisions, violation resumes, and inactive status letters?
Sure.
Okay, let me just knock that out real quickly. Fellow board members, have you all had a chance to review the violation resume, inactive status letters, and warning letters at this time?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have a motion to bring forward on those items?
I will make a motion to approve the director's decisions, violations, warning letters, and inactive status.
And I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you all. And then, Christy, we can just do the ABC update at the end so we can get all these, people taken care of. At this time, if you all are on giving testimony on either side, if you could please stand and raise your right hand, please. We got to swear you in before we start.
Alex, you're breaking up a little bit, so let me just make sure everyone heard. If you're planning on giving testimony today, please stand and raise your right hand. Oh, that's me too. Okay, I think it's Alex.
Okay, do you all swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify, we have 3 of our public witnesses on either side, but we do also have LRPD witnesses present here today. So if you want them to go first or last, that's kind of up to you guys. If you just want me to run through the list, we can do that too. Mr. Berner has asked for a brief opening statement. I can give a brief summary, and then Mr. Ellis can kind of pick up anything that I left out or give a brief summary before we all specifically testify. So is everyone kind of ready to start that process?
Yeah, that works. I think we can do an opening statement just to help give some clear color. That would be great.
All right. Well, the state would then officially call Sam Ellis and Rocktown Outfitters on permit number S139701. Mr. Ellis, if you'll just have a seat at that chair right there. And we have microphones, but we're actually not using the microphones today. It gives feedback in the system, so everyone just please speak loudly and clearly.
I'll use my tour guide voice.
There you go. All right. So I'm Christy Bjornson, director of the ABC. We are here today, like I said, not on a permit because anyone's done anything wrong. It's just whether the permit should or shouldn't exist. The agency has probably 7 factors in our rule book that help guide us in our decision of whether a permit should or should not be denied. But historically, ABC has given a lot of deference to our elected officials. Matter of fact, our rules require a hearing if any elected official has objected to a permit. That's how we got here today. I'm going to be really clear with you. It's not because I think that this operator is a bad operator or I think his idea is bad. Matter of fact, I actually like his idea. It was giving deference to LRPD and the chief of police, who's actually not here today. He did send a representative, but I think the police, I'll let them testify as to what they're going to say as far as safety concerns and criminal concerns. But the reason why we generally defer to those elected officials is because they know their localities, crime and traffic better than me, right? I'm an attorney and I work in alcohol, marijuana, tobacco, and racing. So I'm not necessarily the person to say whether a certain road is a far enough distance from a certain location and all those safety concerns. However, the agency is given discretion and the board by extension is given discretion. So please, you guys are empowered today to make whatever decision you think is right for the city of Little Rock. We're here today for a permit that is down by the river in Two Rivers Park. I believe it's currently a kayak rental and outdoor company. They would like a native beer permit. It is a $15 permit and it allows them to sell beer that's been brewed here in Arkansas. Like I said before, we're not opposed to the type of permit. There was just the agency's deference to LRPD in what their decision was at this location. I will also explain that the board oftentimes approves conditionally. What that means is that, yes, we think your permit is probably going to be allowed at some point, but we need you to make sure you have lighted exit signs, a landline telephone, defined premises, things like that. What Mr. Ellis had proposed with his application would have been something that would have gone for conditional approval. His building at this time is not fully prepared for the type of permit that our office issues, but it could be readily available at some point with a little bit of work and construction. So to give you guys the whole background, this is really one of those 50-50 cases. I'm not here today to tell you someone's done something wrong and I need you to hold them accountable for that. This is really just a discussion about this location from both of the sides of interested parties. So I think that's all I have to cover, but I want to let Mr. Ellis do a brief opening statement if he needs to as well.
Yes, thank you for having me and letting me be here today. I am Samuel Ellis, owner of Rocktown River Outfitters. We do kayak rentals, guided river tours, and bicycle rentals, as well as bicycle tours of the city, all at a River Mountain Park off River Mountain Road, down at Two Rivers Bridge. I'm looking to have this license so that I can offer a local craft beer after a day of paddling or biking. When you come back to our shop and bring the equipment back, I'd like to say, would you like a water, snacks, and maybe a local craft beer to end your experience in our designated barricaded area for containers. So I'm just looking to offer something for our guests to make it even more of a unique experience when they come visit Little Rock, or locals that get to come and use the park.
So if it's okay with you guys, I will kind of just run through the list. Drew, our counsel, may have a couple follow-up questions. Mr. Ellis, you can stay seated there. If you have follow-up questions for any of the witnesses, you may ask as well. Okay? So we will start with, who do you want to start with, Drew?
I am going to start with you, Director Bjornson, and then I'm also going to admit into evidence some pictures of the facility. I think Susan and Alex, you should both have these scanned to you. There should be 4 photos.
Actually, Drew, can you do Morgan first and me last? You want to start with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I want it to end with me.
I can.
That's okay. She's my counsel today. Oh, let me grab my notes.
Do we have a hostile witness over here?
Yeah, me. I like to go last.
Her attorney's keeping her in line.
Yeah, I'm normally the attorney, not the client.
Just having to give up a little control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Director Bjornson, you approve, well, you have introduced yourself, but let's just get on the record your position here at ABC.
I am the regulatory administrator of DFA. That also means that I'm the director of alcoholic beverage control. I'm the director of Arkansas Tobacco Control. And we also oversee the Racing Commission, which has a meeting at 11 o'clock. But don't worry, if we go a little bit long, I have people covering for me.
And Director Bjornson, how often does ABC approve or disapprove permit applications?
So every month, as our board knows, we receive sometimes 50, sometimes 100 permit applications for many different types of permits. It's pretty rare for me to deny a permit out of those 100 that we may see every month. Like I said in my opening statement, not passing the buck here, but we oftentimes defer to local law enforcement on safety and crime concerns if that exists. But I do have a list of factors that I normally go through and consider kind of whether the permit is in the public convenience and advantage for the surrounding area.
And can you go through those 7 factors for us?
I can. So
Pause. Sorry.
Yes.
Where are these factors listed?
These factors are listed in the ABC Administrative Rule Book in 3 CAR Section 1203. It's actually page 20 and 21 of our rule book online because I was looking earlier this week.
Okay. And now if you will go through those 7 factors that you considered, please.
Yes. So, and board, if you guys need me to slow down or you want to take notes, just interrupt me and tell me to stop. Or you can ask any clarifying question as well. So the first factor in the rule book is the number of existing alcoholic beverage permits in the proposed area and whether the area is adequately served by existing permits. That factor can really cut both ways, right? Sometimes it could be argued, well, there's already a ton of permits here, so we don't need another one. Or it could be argued, there's already so many permits here, what's another one? If the access is already there, so why prevent it? It really could cut either way. So this factor is not super persuasive to me one way or the other. I will point out, I'm a Little Rock girl. There are alcohol permits all over Little Rock, up and down that road. There are 35 in that zip code. So this is not unique to the area. This is not something brand new. Some of the churches and locations that are potentially have issue with the permit today are very close to other permitted alcohol establishments. The second factor is the type of existing alcoholic beverage permits in the proposed area. So not the number, but the type. Well, we have all types. As we described in our opening statement, this is at Two Rivers Park. That is at the intersection of, 630 and Cantrell? Or 40 and Cantrell?
Highway 10.
Cantrell and River Mountain Road.
Does everyone kind of generally know where that is, or should we go through the pictures now?
I don't.
Okay. We'll look at the pictures first. So Drew has submitted some exhibits. This kind of shows the location. It is down by Two Rivers Bridge. If you cross the interstate from Maumelle to Little Rock or Little Rock to Maumelle, you're looking over the bridge at Two Rivers Park. Sometimes you do see kayakers out there, or bikers, or families walking the bridge.
It's 430 and Highway 10.
Okay.
And in that location, on either end, there's businesses and neighborhoods. On one side of Cantrell, there's a couple neighborhoods, but shortly further distance down, you've got Tzatziki's, you've got a liquor store, you've got Promenade in the Park. If you're headed the other direction, which is kind of more towards where this location is, you run into the Belk Shopping Center. We've got Bar Louie, there's a Shell gas station, there is the Ridge Liquor Store on that road. We've got Bonefish Grill, Sky Sushi, Sushi Cafe, Threefold, and Santo Coyote. That's just to name a few that are a very short distance from this location. Matter of fact, this location is on one of the most beautiful parts of town. It's by the river. It's close to the bridge. There's not a lot of other businesses down there, but it is less than 2 miles from all of those other businesses. So factor 2, again, it doesn't really cut me one way or the other. And like I told you guys beginning today, the law provides that we're here either way. If an elected official protests to any permit, we have a hearing either way. The third factor is the suitability of the location of proposed outlets, including such factors as possible traffic hazards, traffic congestion, remoteness of the area, degree of law enforcement available, character of the surrounding neighborhood, and related factors. Well, this is a city park. There are some houses on the way to that road. There is a church that is more than a mile away, but would be kind of the last business that you see before you enter the road heading down towards the river. That, again, if you're not familiar with Little Rock, there's been a lot of construction at that Cantrell Highway 10 intersection. You kind of have to loop certain ways to go certain places. So again, nothing is really on the way to this location besides that church because of the way you turn on that road. I am sympathetic to churches and their feelings about alcohol permits. We've run across that a couple times before. Typically, I don't consider myself the expert on traffic congestion or the type of crime that occurs in the area. I was formerly a prosecutor here in Little Rock. I'm familiar with lots of places that have had crime in Little Rock, and unfortunately, it's inescapable. At this point in time, there's not a place in town that I could say, well, this is crime-free and nothing ever happens, or, well, this place is terrible. It really can happen anywhere. So again, defer to Chief of Police on that, but from my experience as someone who's lived in Little Rock, there's not an alcohol permit that argument couldn't be made about. I think the other things, though, degree of law enforcement, I firmly trust LRPD. I firmly trust Arkansas Game and Fish. I believe this location is routinely patrolled by both. So as far as genuine safety concerns, I don't know that I can say I have any, but I will leave that to the Chief of Police and his team to make that argument. Again, character of the surrounding neighborhood. There's probably people here to speak on that. There are nice neighborhoods nearby. They don't connect directly to the road that takes you down to this permit. Okay, factor number 4. The suitability of the proposed building, including factors such as the type of building, the building condition, and building security. So this, which you also have pictures of, is, again, I'm not in construction, so I'm not going to say that I know exactly what this building is like because I have not been inside it. But it is kind of like a warehousey type thing. I will share with you, we have an entire marijuana cultivation site that is connected by container-like hallways that are similar to this. They can be secured. I also discussed in our opening statement about permits that are approved conditionally. We oftentimes have approved permits where the building doesn't even exist yet, and they have a year to finish their construction, get a final inspection from us, which happens at every single permit, to ensure that there's safety. I'm sure, I hope, that Mr. Ellis would testify today that he'd be willing to work with our agents on making any changes as far as extending a boundary, defining a deck area, all of that kind of stuff. What we have now, again, it probably is not suitable. We would need a defined premise, but that has never been a deal breaker for permits in the past. We've always worked with our permit holders to approve conditionally so that they can get what they need to do to make sure that the area is suitable and secure. Having met Mr. Ellis today, I believe that he probably would do that if you afford him the opportunity to do that. But again, that is a factor that the law tells us to consider. So as it stands today, there are some things that would need to be done. Number 5, the potential impact of the proposed outlet on churches or schools specifically. That's kind of why the church is important here, right? Arkansas law has oftentimes, again, with medical marijuana facilities, they cannot be incredibly close to churches or schools. We always have churches near our permits because it's Arkansas, and there are churches and schools everywhere, which I think is a great thing for our community. I think they do great things for our communities. In this case, I don't oftentimes like churches to come in and try to kind of paint a permit holder to look worse than they are. I don't think that's been done here. I think it's purely a location thing. I don't necessarily believe that it, again, is anything against Mr. Ellis. The church is 1.1 miles away from the location. You have to go past the church and down a road to get to where this location is. There is only one roadway in and out. So people who are leaving that location, who have been spending a day at the park or kayaking or biking, whatever, routinely they drive past that church to leave. But so does anyone who drives on Cantrell at any point in the day. It is right there on the corner of Cantrell and the interstate. So it is pretty unavoidable, to be fair to both sides. Input from law enforcement and other public officials. Again, that's why we're here today. This requirement triggers a hearing. If an elected official determines that there is a traffic issue, there is a safety issue, ABC has historically shown deference in denying that permit. I'm here today to tell you this is a 50-50. The board is empowered and appointed by our governor to make these calls for the citizens. I want you guys to understand the facts clearly. I'm not opposed to this type of permit. We help people get these types of permits every day. I'm not directly opposed to this permit holder. He has proven himself to comply with everything that's necessary to get the application. We just have people in the community who do have concerns, and will have their opportunity to share those with you today. I believe that is what spurred the chief of police to write a letter. We did not receive an objection from the mayor. We did not receive an objection from the prosecuting attorney. That is and then our final factor to consider is opposition or support comments from adjacent property owners or nearby residents. I would highlight property owners and residents. This is a city park. There are people who are going to have feelings about it because just because they're not an adjacent property owner does not mean that they cannot use that park. I believe there's people here today who will testify that their children take place in activities down by that park. We absolutely care about the safety of all children in Arkansas for sure, but especially ones who are out trying to play and enjoy the natural state. We totally understand that. So I think you will probably hear from them today. I will say at the time of the application, we received no letters of support, but that's not standard. People don't typically need letters of support unless there's a letter of objection. In this case, there were objection letters that were received, and there was an objection by the police. But if I'm being completely candid testifying here in front of you today, if I had only received the objection letters from the individuals and not the officer, my decision would have been the opposite. This is such a 50-50 case that it really could have gone either way. So if any tiny seed in your mind is like, well, I don't want the director to think that we, are disagreeing with her. First of all, it's your right as a board member to disagree with me as much as you want. But second of all, I want to be very transparent with you that this is not a situation where I think someone has done something wrong, or I think either side of the team is right or wrong here. It's truly a 50-50 call, and we're here because the chief of police spurred an objection. And had that not happened, I just had the other letters, I may have decided the exact opposite. So as helpful as that may or may not be, those are the factors. And the legal analysis is really just a balancing test. But again, ABC's historically shown deference because we cannot account for being an expert in traffic congestion or crime.
I thought it was very good attention, but I missed number 2. Give me number 2. What's that?
The types of existing permits. And I probably didn't say it specifically. I rattled off a bunch of restaurant names. The types of permits are on-premise, off-premise, retail liquor store, restaurant mixed drink, combo beer and wine, any kind of type of retail permit on or off that you can have in that area exists within that zip code. Again, there are 35 within that zip code.
And you're seeking just native beer only?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Drew, did you have any follow-up questions? I know I took control again and didn't let you ask me.
No, I think you have answered all of the questions that I would have had.
I do want to make just one more point about the water, if I can. This past legislative session, we helped downtown Little Rock obtain a boat excursion permit that is going to allow like dinner cruises on the water, people drinking on boats and enjoying Arkansas, what Arkansas has to offer, the natural state, the beauty of the river going through our capital city. We were instrumental in helping them get that passed. Previously, the agency has permitted the Bell on the lake in Hot Springs. Bringing up the lake in Hot Springs, you've got, I think it's Bubba's right there on the water. That's not the only one. There's multiple locations. Again, I believe if there were representatives here from the Department of Tourism or the Department of Parks, they probably would say, yes, this is a good thing for Arkansas. We want this on our river. We want to bring people into town to enjoy what we have to offer. There's also a private club near the Buffalo River. There is a couple outlets where you can go and buy off-premise beer, take it with you, floating on the Buffalo River. We also have state park permits. 2 sessions ago, the governor's office was very instrumental with the Parks Department in getting a specific permit for state parks to sell alcohol because they wanted the draw of those individuals into the parks. So though that's not a listed factor in the rule book, I think it's worthwhile to consider other types of permits near water, other types of permits near parks that ABC and the legislature has blessed in the past. And I don't think I said marinas, but marinas too. On every single lake in Arkansas, marinas sell beer. And I am a former prosecutor. It is 100% against the law to drink and drive, whether that's a boat or a car. That's each individual's responsibility and each permit holder's responsibility. Once they're granted a permit from this office, it is their responsibility to make sure they're not over serving people so that people aren't hopping in a boat or hopping in a car and driving drunk. But that's the responsibility that 10,000 permit holders in Arkansas currently have. And I believe if you asked Mr. Ellis about his idea to uptake that responsibility, you would hear straight from him and not from me. But I just want to point that out so that you guys have a full picture. I know the 2 board members we have here today are probably our 2 newest board members, so I don't think we've heard a hearing quite like this one recently. Any more questions?
No.
Hey, Christy, one point of clarification. Will we be making a motion at the end of this to uphold a director's decision, or will there be any type of like normal type procedural stuff like that, or is it what will we be making a motion?
You will be exactly what you said. If you would like this permit to be denied, you will make a motion to uphold my decision. If you want this permit to be approved, you will make a motion to overrule or undo the director's decision. Again, that is your priority and your discretion. I made my decision based on deference to local law enforcement, as is history of ABC. I know that gives you guys maybe some pause that I'm kind of floating the middle here. That's as intended. This is really truly a 50-50 call. And like I said earlier, I could have been persuaded the other way very easily. So I'm interested to see how testimony kind of shakes out on both sides, which is why I wanted to go last. So I may have some more comments at the end, depending on what I hear from some individuals here today.
Thank you.
I am going to now turn the floor over to our 2 different sides here that are going to go for and against.
Well, and technically Mr. Ellis can ask me questions if he would like to.
Yes, if you have any cross-examination questions.
No, I think you painted a better picture than I could myself. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Well, if you need clarity, let me know.
And Director Bjornson, if you will, stick around in case anybody does have any questions for you or we need to call you back up.
Yes. So if we want to just go to our next person who would be in opposition, we'll start with Miss Allison Graves, and then we'll flip-flop on either side.
And then if you're in opposition, you'll be on this side And then anybody that comes up to testify with Mr. Ellis will be on the side with him.
I'm Allison Graves, and I am sorry. I did not know I was coming. I did not write a letter, and I was rowing last night on the river, and our chairman of the board said, "Oh my God, I can't go. I've got clinic. Can you go and just watch?" And so I'm not prepared, but I am a lawyer, and I work for an appellate court. So I would have prepared much. I don't even know exactly the system. I probably handled that ABC appeal, but I don't recall it. So I have written down notes of what she said were the factors. And my understanding was that this had been denied, and this was almost pro forma. It doesn't appear that way. It feels like I'm fighting against the director, and that the decision has almost been made. Local Arkansan, grew up in Hope, grew up on the water down there in Nashville, grew up with people drinking on the water, raised my kids on Heber, up at Heber on Greers Ferry. So I'm familiar with alcohol and boating. And I'm not here, I know it's against the law, you shouldn't be doing any of it, and obviously I understand that. I understand it happens. What I do want to point out here is that the director has said that is a location thing, and I agree. Location, location, location. This is not just the Arkansas River. This is not downtown where you're going to have boats with large parties serving alcohol. I'm not against that. We live in a wet county. I'm glad I do. But this is a place where you have already, I've been rowing on the river for about 5 years, and I bike down there, I walk down there. I have kids that are grown that have used it. I'm not here necessarily to argue pros or cons of having alcohol. I'm here to argue against having alcohol right there. If you all aren't familiar with it, the boathouse, and I'm delighted he's there. I am. I've rented kayaks from him. I've rented bikes downtown. I will continue to do so. And I love that we have that on our river finally. And I've seen so much growth in the last 5 years. So I'm not against any of that. I'm definitely pro. But right where he's got his location, which is right next to the boathouse where I row, it's right at the Two Rivers Bridge, and then you go, I guess it would be west of there, and you have kayakers, you have paddleboarders, you have us. We row. We cannot row with life jackets. We don't. And you're in a boat that a boat comes by and you're likely to fall over. We wear neon. We have, we do everything we can, but it's already dangerous because you have fishing boats and boats that are going way too fast, not watching. Lots of young men fishing, which is great, except that they're not always as cautious as we out there on the water, right in the water, wish they would be. With alcohol, that just will compound it. And it is not the part of the river where you have speedboats and freighters and cruising boats that can host groups. It is where you already have people right in the water on paddle boards. We're in sculls or whatever, and his kayaks that you're renting, and then you have boats with big motors. So you have 3-4 days a week. Vic can tell you that. I'm not sure because I know his kids row, and we have Episcopal rows. We have other school kids, like little kids, big. They're out there all over that water. So it's not that I'm opposed to having drinks, like he said. You come in from a kayak, I'd love to go have a beer after a kayak. That'd be great. But it won't be limited to that. There will be people that, again, you can bring beer to the water. You can have beer on your boat, and people do. But when you are selling beer right on the water, right on the part of the water where people are doing all sorts of things in it that are so dangerous already, they're not going to just say, when I come in, I think I'll have a beer. Some people will. But some people won't. And so I think it's a recipe for disaster. I don't know if, or what is it? Not when, but if it's dangerous. So she had the factors, which again, I would have known had I been coming here and prepared, but I wasn't. I wrote down some of them: public convenience, advantage. Obviously, I don't think it's public convenience or advantage right there. the area, there are restaurants, there are bars, and she said that locality already has lots of alcohol. No, that locality doesn't have lots of alcohol. You're going down to the park, and there are no businesses there except for his and except for the boathouse. It's just people recreating, and it's not like a lake where you have a marina and you've got people coming in on speedboats and whatever. It doesn't feel that way. And if you go down there on an evening, go down there at 5 o'clock in the evening when you're seeing the kids rowing or bikers, it is not ideal for alcohol. Like, again, I recognize that you can bring your own, but most people probably don't. It will change the nature of it. Adequately served by existing permits. She says not unique to the area. Again, I disagree. I think that place is definitely unique, and I think his would be unique in a bad way, in my opinion. And if they want to go have a drink, again, they can go a mile up the road and have a drink, or again, bring their own ice chest. But to serve it there, it feels like a very bad idea. Type of permit, alcohol in the water. These people are not on big boats. I've already Andrew at the shop. This is not a shopping area with restaurants, bars, Belk, whatever you're mentioning. And it's not about churches. We live in a wet county, so it's not about churches and schools. I'm worried about those on other days. I'm not worried about churches and schools today. I'm worried about precisely where this permit will be. Suitability of location, again, same thing. This isn't a question of whether alcohol is appropriate. Suitability of building, I'm not worried about this building. It's, I do think it's interesting that, and again, I know that we generally are going to approve permits. You said out of 100, I don't know how many are approved. But there are situations, just like in the law, just like in all situations, where it's just not appropriate. Maybe we approve 90%. That's great. Maybe we would approve it a mile down the river. You're eating at the Old Cajuns. You're eating at Brave New Restaurant. There's a million places. I wish we would develop that river where there would be alcohol served. This just is not that place. And we don't have to have alcohol everywhere that it's asked to be. We already have plenty of it. I just think that this is a bad idea. So I'm against it. And one thing, the no support. She got no letters of support, and I agree. You're generally not going to get letters of support. I'm generally not going to be here. I'm here because I was rowing, and she said go. I didn't, and so I understand you're not going to have letters of support if there aren't objections. But she had an objection from the chief of police. She had objection letters. I know in the entire boathouse club would have been against it, and I'm presuming tons of parents who take their kids down and are riding or walking or doing whatever, they don't know to object or not object. I don't think because the neighborhoods didn't object, they don't. Probably have some that don't use the park much, but would love to come down and have a beer. But most that are thinking about it in that particular area, and it's not a great place for it. So the fact that we had objections from individuals in addition to the chief of police and no letters of support, I don't know. I hope I do feel like that she continues to say, the director said this is 50-50. I don't think it's 50-50 at all. I think it would be a very small I can't imagine the reasons why you would put alcohol in this particular location. Location. A mile down, a mile the other way, or right where it is. It's the only part of the river where people can get on paddle boards. I'm sure people get on down in the middle of the river, but this is the one place where you can do paddle boards and sculls. And I've seen people swimming with their dogs and throwing balls to their dogs. You don't see that a lot, but you see it a little bit. You have people in kayaks fishing. You have that kind of river, and it's the only place in Little Rock on the Arkansas River where that exists. And to put boaters with alcohol intentionally feels like a really bad idea. So.
And Ms. Graves, if you'll stay put, just for each side has opportunity to ask some questions, and our board members may have some questions if you do.
So I do have a couple questions that I'm probably going to ask most of you. What prompted you to object to this?
I am personally on that water regularly and against it.
And the rowing club is what brought you to be against this. Okay. And do you live in the zip code 72212?
I do not.
And have you raised any concerns over parking lot safety or water safety to Game and Fish before?
I have not.
That's all I have for her. If you have any questions.
No questions, I think. I understand your concerns.
Board members, do you guys have any questions for Ms. Graves?
Does the boathouse have a permit that I can?
I do not believe so. Okay, thank you, Ms. Graves. I appreciate your testimony. Next up, we have Marion Gavin in support of the permit.
Morning.
You're supposed to sit on my side or that side?
Oh, I'm supposed to sit on your side.
Doesn't matter, I didn't know.
Put
Okay.
holes in my
Good
side.
call. You paid attention to the rules.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you tell me when does Sam get to talk?
He can testify at any point. I have him going third, so he'll kind of wrap it up for your side of things, unless you want to go first.
I don't care.
We'll let you go ahead, Miss Gavin.
Okay. I'm Marion Gavin. I live in Walton Heights, which is right there. We oversee the river. I've known Sam, I don't know, a decade. And personally, I think that if you knew him as a person, we wouldn't be here at all. In regards to letters of support, he will be sending some out. He has a letter of support from Leland Couch, who is in charge of Parks and Recreation. He has a letter of support from Kathy Peck, who is our city director. I would have to say, Sam is an incredible man, and I don't say that lightly, in the sense that he is a very responsible, caring person. And from what I understand, I'm a little confused as to why the chief of police is against this, because he's called, who are all the people that you've called in regards to things happening? Sheriff Department, the Little Rock Police Department, and the U.S. Coast Guard all know who he is, and he calls them whenever there's a problem, either in the river or around the river, saying that there's people in a boat that are not acting right or the rest. He's almost kind of the watchdog of the entire area. And this is not a bar. This is simply, how big would this place be? Half the size of this room or smaller?
Smaller.
Maybe what this is in the middle, 2 picnic tables, and it would simply be offering a beer after having been biking or being at kayaking. Not during, not on the water, none of that. This is simply an additional perk for tourists. And I'm sure some Arkansans, when they're down there saying, hey, if you like, I have local beer. If you'd like to try one, it's $5. It's not a money maker, it's a draw. And I think, honestly, it's not just a win-win, but it's a win-win-win. Because it's a win for tourists, it's a win for breweries, local breweries, which need all the help they can get as being a small local business. And it's a win for his very small business that he started at night. I was one of his first customers. I was very intrigued. I can't recall ever being on the Arkansas River except maybe in Gators, and now I'm aging myself. And that's in North Little Rock, or was. And I was one of his first customers, and it was at night, and did a fantastic kayak tour, and I've done it many times since. And do I look like an athletic person? I'm not. So I can just tell you that his calmness, his sense of everything's great and fine, and you're taken care of, and responsibility. He used to be a white water rafting guide that had to have all these classes and all this other. He knows his stuff. He's a great guy. I really don't understand why this is here. Why we're here, not that this is here. What else did I have? Let me see. So I am confused as to why the chief of police is concerned, because this is not going to be a free-for-all. That people can come in and say, hey, get a beer, and then go off and get in their boat and go. They have to stay in this designated area, and he will enforce that. So you might think, well, he's got other things to do. No, he's incredibly conscientious. He's a conscientious neighbor. He's a conscientious person. I feel totally safe when I'm out with him on kayak in the middle of the water, even at night. And in terms of what about boats? He goes, well, we're going to be over here and I have lights. And I'm like, oh, okay, no need to worry. The other thing I wanted to cover, I am from the neighborhood. He's going to hand out some letters that were written to him, including those letters that I told you that are from Kathy Peck and Leland Couch and others in my neighborhood and a few other people. And I forgot my chain of thought. My apologies. Just that it's not a bar. I am vice president of the Walton Heights Board. I am here personally. I am not representing the board. We never voted on this. It wasn't a contention of saying, well, that's terrible. We just didn't even bring that up because we know him and we know this is not going to be a problem. So I don't want to take anybody else's time up. Just wanted to show my support, and you can't go wrong. This guy knows what he's doing, and honestly, I can't recall the last time I stood up and sworn on the character of somebody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And Ms. Gavin, if you'll stay seated just for 1 second,
Yes.
both Mr. Ellis and Ms. Cousins have the opportunity to ask you some questions, and just in case our board members have any follow-up. Drew, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do just have one. Again, I'm kind of going through the same questions with everyone. And you said you do live right there in that zip code by the park.
I can see the river from my house.
And have you ever had any concerns with the boats that led you to contact Game and Fish or Coast Guard?
I have not.
Okay.
Because I don't have a boat.
Appreciate your
But you
testimony.
have been on the river in boats right there with Sam.
I have.
Okay.
Yes, many times.
All right.
And Mr. Ellis, did you have any specific questions you wanted to ask Ms. Gavin?
You imagine after that first trip, we'd be here talking like this?
No, I really
You almost
didn't.
made me cry a little bit.
It's all good. It's all good.
Uh,
He's just a great guy. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. He will take beers away from anybody. He won't offer a beer to anyone who seems to be drunk. He wouldn't allow them in a kayak if they were acting strange or whatever. He's not someone who's anything for money. This is actually to accrue tourism. He's not going to make much money from this. It's just a little perk.
I appreciate your testimony. Board members, do you have any questions for Ms. Gavin?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so the board members know, and let me make sure I'm correct, Ms. Ward, did you include all of the letters of opposition that we received in the binder for the board today?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They don't
Um,
look for the file
If
unless you're-
Okay, so normally when the state wants certain exhibits shown to the board, we have those. I believe there are some witnesses who are in opposition who have some extra letters today. I believe Mr. Ellis has extra letters today. Administrative procedure allows for Mr. Ellis and requires him to bring certain copies. We probably don't have those copies for these witnesses because they're not truly a party to the case, if that makes sense. But Ms. Prater, if you don't mind making copies of the letters they have, if you guys would.
I did that.
Okay.
It's not the original from the file.
Okay, so there may be some additional letters that were here today, but there were some original in the file. So if I can explain procedurally, if we receive a letter from an individual with an address on it, Ms. Ward will send them notice to be here. If we receive one that does not have an address on it, or they choose not to come, then they're not here. So there was a group of letters, which Brandy is right, y'all don't normally get the file. There was a group of letters that came with the chief of police's letters, but I believe there's some additional. So if you guys want to talk about those as you testify, you may provide those to the board. And Mr. Ellis, you may provide your letters too as you testify when you choose. Does that make sense? Okay. So next, and I apologize if I mispronounced the last name. Is it Miss Florence?
It's not going to go first.
Okay, you would like to go first? Okay. Mr. Vic Snyder.
I'm Vic Snyder. I live in the Robinwood neighborhood, which is 72227. But you can cut down through the woods and get down the Arkansas River Trail, all those neighborhoods along there. My brief summary is I consider this a lose, lose, lose. And I do not understand why we're doing it. We just had Marion testify that he's not going to make any money. Well, then why all the uproar about this? I don't get it. It's a part-time seasonal business. the rowing community and a whole lot of folks down there don't want alcohol in this area, but that's something I want to talk about in a little bit. We have some people that couldn't be here today, and they should have distributed those letters. I didn't realize you had not seen the files before you got here because there were letters that came in, but the Arkansas Boathouse Club has the rowing program down there. Our boathouse is, you would call it like a lean-to. I mean, it's a metal roof with all the boats in there. It's got fence around it, but it's open. It's not any type of place that we would sell alcohol. The Boathouse Club is the rowing program. If you see them down there, what in the old days we call a crew, I guess. We have about 70 kids and adults. It's mostly kids, middle school and high school students, some as young as 12. And we're down there, this is a weather-dependent sport. So when Sam's renting places or renting his kayaks is about the same time that the boathouse folks are down there and their parents. And we have great concerns about being the neighbor right on the parking lot that you can see in these pictures, why we want to serve alcohol and have alcohol sitting out on the table when we're trying to recruit members and have that be the healthy part of the town. If you would bear with me, I would like a couple of people who couldn't be here. One, her father-in-law died, and then 3 or 4 days later, she had to put her mother-in-law in hospice this last week. Penny Wilburn, a lawyer in town, she's on our Boathouse Club board. She said, "I'm writing object to the granting of an alcohol sales permit to Rocktown River Outfitters or any other business in that area. I'm a member of the Arkansas Boathouse Club and row in that area. I also run on the trail on a regular basis. Safety is sometimes threatened in the area already due to boaters who fail to observe the no wake signage on the buoys near the dock and the Rocktown River Outfitters location. In addition, the parking lot at the dock is crowded and almost always full with vehicles of all types coming and going constantly, especially in the early evening around dusk, which is when it's rowing and kids are out of school to row. Likewise, theft and vehicle break-ins occur in that area on a regular basis. Is it possible that alcohol sales nearby might contribute to an increase in that activity?" And I'm not going to read all our letter because you have it. And then our coach Ted Riedberg, we have a very small rowing program. I've got 2 kids in it now. I've had kids in it probably for 5 years now. One's gone on to college. But our coach can't be here today because one of our teams is Episcopal Collegiate, and one of our rowers, a girl, is a senior, and she's getting a full scholarship in rowing, but she's doing a presentation as a senior at Episcopal Collegiate, and he wanted to be there for that. But let me read part of his letter. By the way, he is very aggressive about policing that area. He's got the 10-mile wake buoys all up and down there. He'll chase after these kids in their boats that they create wakes, and he's very vigilant. But let me read part of his letter. "At the river, safety is my #1 priority. While the rowing team members are out enjoying the river and training, my coaching staff and I are vigilant in maintaining the safety of our athletes and non-rowers alike. Alcohol clouds judgment, and when people are out enjoying kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, or use of other watercraft, it's imperative that their perception and awareness of what's going on around them is at their highest. Adding alcohol makes things more dangerous. Our rowing shells move deceptively quick to the water, and with poor judgment from an intoxicated paddler, one might make a sudden turn which pushed them in the direct path of one of our boats. Even without alcohol involved, my coaches and I are out watching for these possibilities and communicating with our athletes and others enjoying the river to keep everyone safe. We also need to consider people's faculties after they leave the parking lot. Imagine spending 2 hours out in the hot sun, getting dehydrated on a kayak outing, then drinking a couple of beers right before getting into a car. River Mountain Road is very narrow, barely wide enough for 2 cars going opposite directions in some places. In addition, we sometimes encounter cyclists climbing the road near blind curves, so poor judgment due to driving while under the influence in these circumstances could be devastating." And you have the letter in the file. He didn't communicate with other kayak rental facilities around the country and couldn't find anybody that thought it was a great idea. I want to make some comments, if I could, about some of the things that have been said. First of all, this is not in Two Rivers Park. This is River Mountain Park. And Two Rivers Park is across the Little Maumelle. It's what we used to call it the county farm. It's run by the county. It's a county park. We're in River Mountain Park. It's a city of Little Rock Park. If the application says Two Rivers Park, then it's not accurate.
And point of correction, that's me. It's the Two Rivers Bridge.
Two
and
Rivers
the park
Bridge.
is right there, and the bike path connects multiple areas of the river. So I will
Cool.
accept that
That's
critique.
right.
Yes.
And the reason you're not the only one that gets confused.
Sure.
The Arkansas Times recently had their best of it. The best mountain bike trails, they said, were in Two Rivers Park. Well, Two Rivers Park is completely flat. They actually meant River Mountain Park, which has the hill. The River Mountain Park is distinctive because it is got that bridge linking it with the Two Rivers Park. But the Pulaski County and City of Little Rock have had joint responsibilities at River Mountain Park since this whole thing went back to Buddy DeLines and Pat Hayes and all. I was the one who called County Judge Barry Hyde and told him about it. He didn't know anything about this application, and he is opposed to it. So the City of Little Rock, Leland Couch, whoever it is, I love those folks, but they didn't communicate with the county judge. They have maintenance responsibilities in River Mountain Park. They also, the security cameras that are stuck up, like as we go right down to the boathouse and the Sam's place, the cameras are maintained, the security cameras are maintained by Pulaski County. And if a objection of a county, of a elected official gets your attention, Pulaski County Judge Barry Hyde has told me that he's opposed to it. He let me put that statement in an op-ed I had in the paper about a month ago. He is opposed to this. A few other things. The thing about tourism. Some time ago, I saw a guy from Louisiana putting a boat in the water. And I went up to this guy and I said, "Hey, you got a lot of places like this in Louisiana?" And he said, "We got nothing like this in Louisiana." And if you haven't been down there and want to defer your vote until you've all been down there and drive down River Mountain Park, it's like you're going to Arkansas outdoors. This is not the entertainment district in downtown Little Rock. This is going down where people fish, boat. People go down there, put their boats in the water, and go duck hunting before going to work in Little Rock. This is a very, very unique place. What I do down, I go down there 6 or 7 days a week, and Sam and I pick up litter sometimes together. Then I had my kids in the rowing program. People stop me after I put that op-ed and said, "I drink beer, Vic. I don't want that beer down here." That's what we have the entertainment district for. And what has confused me about this is I know Sam put up the public notice. I didn't see it on this building, but I'm not clear where the alcohol is going to be served. What's the outline of the red here?
That's the surrounding location. And if I could interject for just a second, it always gets a little ticky-tacky because the letters of opposition are what get you to the hearing, but alcohol law is very specific on what we can and cannot consider. So the letters that I received previously are what sparked this hearing. These exhibits are prepared in light of what information comes up at the hearing, but we're not, again, it would be a conditional approval. So there wasn't a specified, like, here's where the cash register is going to go, here's where table 1, 2, and 3 is, nor is that required by law for any permit application. So I just want to make sure we're not holding this permit application to some standard that others are not typically held to.
Okay, but that, I'm still not clear. I didn't distribute this. You all distributed
Yeah,
it. What's
this
the
is
significance of the red line?
just to show what the surrounding area would be around where the water is.
Sam, you told me a few months ago your lease is for the footprint of the building. Is that correct?
Correct.
You have no lease over any of the area other than the footprint of the building.
No, sir.
So this is City of Little Rock property that he's applying for a permit so people can go out and drink beer at some area here to be designated that he doesn't have a lease for. He doesn't have control. As a City of Little Rock resident, I have as much control as that picnic table right there as he does right now, because he doesn't have a lease for that, as he just testified. This is I feel like we have done you all a disservice, the City of Little Rock. We have brought you an issue which our police department is opposed to it. Our county judge is opposed to it. I can't find, other than Cabbage letter today, the city directors, I don't know, they didn't, anyway. We're not hearing much from city government. There was never a vote by the city board or anything on this. If this permit goes forward, there's going to continue to be uproar over this, particularly for this kind of thing, when we don't even know where he's going to be selling. I don't see how you can approve this if you don't know where he's going to be selling the beer, and he doesn't have a lease for the land.
Vic, I would like to correct myself. My permit is bigger than my footprint. It is a square footage. I can't remember the number, the square footage is off the top of my head. It's in my lease agreement with the city. But we do have a lease on a property that's outside of our footprint.
I'm just going by what you said a few months ago. We had a
And
footprint,
if I could interject, we just want to stay, because this is an administrative hearing, so you can ask questions, but when it's your turn to testify, that's when you can refute anything that may or may not be said. It's sometimes hard for me to stay quiet over here too. I get it. But I just want to make sure that the board understands the city of Little Rock doesn't ever vote on any permits. This is a discretionary permit that I have the discretion to approve or deny. I denied it in deference to the city of Little Rock's chief of police. This is not something where when there is a denial, you guys typically get the entire file. We can share the previous letters if that's something that the people in opposition would like to share as a kindness and a favor. But, not knowing the proper procedure or not knowing exactly how the process works is not an excuse or something that could be used to persuade you guys that there's some higher level of burden that Mr. Ellis should have reached that he is not required to reach. There is never any kind of agreement from the city coming to tell us about anything like this. I understand that because this is a park, there are other factors involved, but I just want to make sure we're not holding Mr. Ellis to any burden that no other permit holders being held to.
And Kristen, one thing to add on, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Schneider, thank you for everything you've said so far, and thank you for your service, everything you've done for this local community and the state. I grew up in Little Rock, and I remember seeing your political signs growing up as a kid. So, and I graduated from Episcopal, so I appreciate the rowing program that's there now. It was not there when I was there. But as far as the city's involvement, as a point of clarification, that would be more tied to a zoning type discussion if his business, meets zoning regulations on it being operating, and if there's any type of zoning restrictions on alcohol sales, would be where a city would be involved in. We're not here to kind of agree or disagree if it's not entitled for that type of operation. We're here more on the administrative capacity of, listening to the opposition from the public, but local state officials absolutely have the power, if the right zoning's not in place or permitting, to not allow this to proceed, as well as this just being a conditional approval. We can set any type of regulations on, more details to be ironed out before an actual permit would be issued. No permit's going to be issued today. At the very least, it would be a conditional approval that would still require a lot more work to be done before, an ABC official would be granting a license.
I just want to go back to procedure here, and let's let Mr. Schneider continue giving any of his testimony, and then we can all ask questions and go through that too.
Good job, Drew. Thank you.
And I didn't mean to say it all, but if I thought that the city of Little Rock somehow take away a permit or something, all I mean is the city of Little Rock, the residents of Little Rock, we own that park. That is our land, and we can decide what we want on it, whether it's a boathouse or not a boathouse. I mean, we're in the process, I think, of getting our lease reapproved down there. That's all I meant by that. The kayak facility could be moved. I don't think I have much more I want to say. I do, and this may not be an ABC issue, but when we talk about the tourism boats, and those things are great. My wife's a Methodist minister, and she wrote a letter, but she wanted you to be sure, she wanted everyone to be sure she knows she likes drinking beer. But there was a dam between Little Maumelle, where it goes into Arkansas, and the downtown entertainment district that we support. And if you haven't been down there, I'll say it again, please come on down there. You're going back into a world that you would wish that every city wished they had. This is our treasure in Little Rock, where you can duck up before you go to work. It is not the same. It does not help our tourism by saying somehow we're going to start beer sales down there, and that's going to get more people to come down there. People come down there because they don't want to have the beer down there. You all, I'm sure, are going through this. Alcohol intake is down in America, and of those of us who drink and have children, even the beer drinkers don't want their children to be around it. This is where we have kids in a rowing program in middle school and high school in a very, very special place on city park land that the county judge doesn't want there, Little Rock Police doesn't want there, and I'm not even sure yet from this where it's going to be. I mean, there never was any road out there to say, here's the notice, this is where we're going to serve beer. And I think that's why a lot of us missed it. But thank you for your time.
And I just have a follow-up question. Are you alleging that Mr. Ellis did not post notice in the newspaper or did not post the yellow sign? He did do those things, correct?
No, he.
Okay.
The issue we have is it's a seasonal business, it's part-time. I think I said this in my letter. I mean, who goes over to a kayak facility every day to look for ABC permit applications, even though we don't do it. However, if there is some requirement, well, no, you need to see where you're going to serve the beer, I think we would have seen that.
That is not a requirement,
That's
just
not
so that
a
everyone
requirement,
knows. If a building is not yet constructed, all they have to do is put a stake and a sign in there that says, we're going to have alcohol here, but no, there's no required premises. Again, that factors into the conditional approval. Our agents are fantastic, and they do a final inspection before every single location to make sure that they meet all of the requirements in ABC law.
It is one of the, I guess it's not a requirement, but this facility has no restrooms. The restrooms are public bathrooms up the hill and around the lagoon. It's the same bathrooms that our kids will be using, the boys and girls in middle school and high school. And I think that's a concern too, because the person that's serving beer cannot see the restrooms, but maybe that's not an uncommon issue.
There are certain requirements for certain different types of permits, depending on which type. So again, that's where the conditional approval comes in. And if someone is not able to meet the conditions that are required by our law, they don't get that permit. So just to explain, now, Mr. Ellis, you do have the opportunity, and Ms. Cousins as well. We'll let Drew go first. And then Mr. Ellis, if you have any questions for Mr. Schneider, you can ask too.
Mr. Schneider, what are the ages of the rowers?
Middle school, well, from middle school on up, we got some guy my age in his 70s.
Okay.
But most of them are middle schoolers and high schoolers, but there is an adult team, a smaller adult team.
And you mentioned Judge Hyde didn't want this. Judge Hyde is a county judge?
He's a Pulaski County judge. He's the
Okay.
executive officer of Pulaski County.
And did he write a letter?
He did not write a letter.
Okay.
He had me did an op-ed about a month ago, and he was fine with me putting in his opposition in the thing. About a week ago, and he's still opposed. But it's more important, he's going to get notice about it. I mean, that's an issue. I mean, there's no, at least I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, but the county judge, who has responsibility in that part too, I mean, he just didn't.
So do you understand that our rules require us to reach out to public officials, elected officials in the area, including chief of police or county sheriff, mayor, and prosecuting attorney? So,
That's fine. I think your rules are like that.
okay. Well, you're kind of insinuating that we didn't follow our rules, though.
No, I didn't. Not at all. I didn't. If I did, I apologize. That was not my intent at all. It was more in the spirit of, if the county and city have some shared responsibility for the park, I really wish somebody in the city of Little Rock would have picked up the phone, city of Little Rock, not you all, and called the county judge and say, hey, what do you think about selling beer across the river?
We can't control what the
That's
elected
what I meant
officials.
by, I think we owe you all, we didn't.
Fair.
That's what I meant by that.
And we can't control what the elected officials
No,
do,
absolutely.
but I understand that,
We
which is
can.
why we send them notification of every permit all the time.
Yeah, no.
Every
You're saying the county judge did get notification?
Anyone who's required
Okay.
by law. So if it is in the city gets it. If it's in the county gets it.
Mr.
So in this
Snyder?
case, exactly who got
This
it was
is
the
a city
of Little
park.
Rock.
Okay.
And then you mentioned you lived in the area. I'm going back to my questions that I'm asking most people. What prompted you to object?
Since I retired like 3 years ago or so, I probably am down there 6 or 7 days a week at least, walking up and down the river. I pick up litter. I'm the old guy picking up litter. I sometimes take my canoes out. and pick up trash along the river. I think it's just an incredible resource. By the way, I've been in my canoe sometimes when speedboats go by, and it's not fun. I have trouble, of course. I'm at an age when bending over to tie my shoe is a balancing challenge. But then I have my boys in the rowing program. But the bigger picture is, I think we're missing the boat in Little Rock right now on tourism. I mean, we have our downtown area that we're trying to build up, the entertainment district, we have the golf course, but then we have this treasure. And it could be, we need to protect it and keep it like the wonderful outdoor oasis it is in the middle of town. And that's, I think, may drive it as much as anything. It is a peculiar thing, though, to go down and see the cross-country team from Classic Academy and some other folks, Catholic High. They work out, they park right down there in that parking lot. They work out of there. My kids in the rowing program. And then to think, okay, we share a parking lot. And somehow, we're going to put in an alcohol facility right next to that. It seems peculiar for a city like that.
So have you ever raised concern over water or parking safety to LRPD or Game and Fish or Coast Guard?
When you say concerns about water safety,
you're saying that the boats go.
The other day about, he was down there, I talked to him. Our coach polices that a lot when there are boats out. He will chase them down and say, that's a 10-mile-an-hour buoy. I have repeated some buoys that float down the river.
But you've never reached out to LRPD about the breaking into cars or the boats going fast in the no-wake area?
No, I've talked to the officer down there when they were down there, and they were concerned. And I've talked sometime ago, I talked to Mayor Scott about the break-ins that occurred down there. I think it's less now than it was. And sometimes there'll be an officer down there. I found, somebody's wallet. I gave it to a police officer a year or two ago. It was from a break-in down there. I found a used Narcan thing. I'm glad they used it, but I passed that along to somebody I know at the parks just to let them know, hey, we had this going on down there. I was thinking maybe the cameras would be pointing toward it, so we could see what was going on, but the cameras don't like that way.
Okay.
Mr. Ellis, do you have any questions for Mr. Snyder?
Yes, just two things. One, I was in the boathouse with you guys for a while. When I left, I had the schedule for rowing and all the classes, different groups. I know y'all grown since I've left the boathouse a lot, but when I left, it was about 20 hours a week that you guys were operational on the water with the classes. Y'all, how long during the week are you guys operational now? I mean, I see your classes, but I know I don't maybe see all of them.
I don't know. See, there's morning adult classes in the morning, and then the afternoon thing. It depends on the season.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then I guess my genuine question to you is, are you worried about I agree with you saying that this park is a treasure. That's why I want to protect it. That's why I've invested my own money and built the boathouse. Are you more concerned about the alcohol sales, or are you concerned about it bringing additional use and additional traffic to the Little Maumelle River?
I'd like to see there be more traffic down there. It continues to grow. I'd like to see more bass boats and more paddle boaters, more kayak rentals. What I don't want to see is some of our parents, like this school has a team down there, Little Rock Christian has a team. I don't want parents driving down there sometime when you've got a large group sitting out there drinking beer and they think, I'm not going to drop my kid off down here. Our parking lot is, you and I don't know, 50 yards apart or something. That concerns me. I think we do not need to be sending a message where we have duck hunters and bass fishermen unloading there that, yeah, it's okay. This is a big friendly area, drink beer and go out in the river. We don't need to do that in this area of the river. That's what we have the entertainment district for. By the way, there's that dam that keeps your cruise boat from coming down there. There's a lock dam separates it, so that's part of the geographic separation.
Okay.
I just think it's the tourism. This is our area where people do like to be free of the entertainment district and come down there and bank fish, like all this area right here on your map. people bank fish all along here. I mean, this is a very popular place. Because there's not a lot of places to bank fish, so that's a very popular place to bank fish. Some people come over here and bank, try to fish down there in that lagoon on the other side. But it's not like this is somehow an abandoned place that Sam can somehow say we're going to claim this for. This is for beer. This is an actively used area for people down there to do recreation. I'm done. I don't mean to take more of your time. I did want to say I want to thank your staff for their courtesy, and this has been an unusual thing. I think for them, we've been confused as much as anybody has. I appreciate their help, and I get along just fine with Sam. I think he's dead wrong on this issue. I get along fine with Kathy Peck, which I suspect is the only director you've heard from. I just think she's dead wrong on this issue. I just think that it's such an important treasure down there that the city needs to back off this.
And before you run away, board members, any questions?
I've got a question for you, Mr. Snyder. It seems like you two know each other. Do you think if he was granted this permit conditionally that he would operate responsibly and safely? Or do you have reason to believe he would?
I have no problem with, I mean, I don't know Samuel other than we exchange stories about who dumped garbage and what's going on after the 5th of July when we have to clean up down there. I don't have any reason to think that he would not try to conform to a permit, but that misses the issue for me, because for me it's going down there and guys sitting out there drinking beer in an area that we don't have to have that on our city, our property, I think. And if you haven't been down there, it's what my friend said, this is not all those areas up on Cantor. That's my argument why we don't need it. You're done going up the hill, driving up the hill, which is narrow, and with the brush growing out there this time of year, we just don't, I don't see how this adds anything, but takes away from people who really appreciate it being a recreational, healthy recreation for families.
I have one follow-up question real quick. I mean, could people drink in this park regardless of its availability? Could I bring my own beer and sit down there?
That is sitting. I think that's legal. My experience is you don't see that a lot down there, but yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Now I pick up litter. I know that people are doing things down there between used condoms and empty beer cans and whiskey bottles. This morning when I go down there.
Okay, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person we have is Miss Holly Morrison, former Alpha Sigma Tau from UCA. I actually know Miss Morrison, but haven't seen you in several years. Welcome to ABC, Holly.
Also, congratulations. I didn't say that earlier.
Thank you. If you'll just state your name for the record, and if Mr. Ellis, if you have any questions for her, you can ask them along the way or at the end, but if you'll just state your name for the record.
Yes, so my name is Holly Morrison. I am married to Samuel Ellis. We've been married for a couple years now, but I will not only be speaking on his character, but also as an employee, because if some of you know, when you're married to a local business owner, oftentimes you are also staff. So I did just want to say, I think the facts have been shown, some personal opinions have been shown, especially by a particular group, without the consideration of a greater population. As a staff member, I get tourists from all over that actually complain about the fact that we don't serve even a can or two. They get off a long bike ride from one of our rentals and they're like, man, I could really use a cold beer. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you have to go up the hill. So as far as really creating that experience for them, I feel like we are still behind the times in so many ways, and we're just trying to get there. So we know all over the state it's happening. We know it's happening in other cities that we really want to mirror ourselves after. And I agree with Vic. Why is this such an uproar? So I feel like this should be no contest.
Drew, do you have any questions for Ms. Morrison? I did not realize that y'all were married. Congratulations to you as well. And again, for the record, I have not seen Ms. Morrison. We have not communicated about this. I did not know that you would be here today.
I just am going to ask you a couple of the same questions I've asked everyone else. Do you live in this zip code of 72212?
Yes.
And you live with Mr. Ellis, so you guys both live in the zip code?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had any concerns over any of the like water safety issues that you think this might affect? Okay. That's all I've got.
Mr. Ellis, do you have any questions for your wife? She's sworn.
Did you get or not get toilet paper? No, I think Holly knows me best. She sees me every day working long days and getting to meet people, and she knows that I really am trying to keep that park safe. I've had to call Game and Fish and Sheriff's Department, people hitting golf balls and having people removed from the park that shouldn't be there. So I just thank you for being here and telling them a little bit about our side of the issue.
And if I might also add, I think I heard Vic mention the death that recently happened down there at Two Rivers or River Mountain Park. I just want to say that, like, with Sam's character, he showed up, unfortunately, a few minutes too late, but he supported law enforcement in all of their rescue efforts to get him out of the water. And this was totally unrelated to his business completely. He was in a motorboat, and it sounded like it was an accident. So his involvement with law enforcement is persistent, consistent, all the time, making sure that our parks are safe. So I don't think that should be a concern whatsoever.
Board members, do you have any questions for Ms. Morrison?
I'm all set.
Thank you for your testimony. Ms. Florence, are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. He covered it. I got you.
And we've been here for quite a while.
Okay, I understand. I will let Detective Ratliff discuss. If you will come take the stand, please, and then Mr. Ellis, yourself, you will go next. One moment, please. You need something?
Just real quick, based on some of the testimony that we've heard, there seems that there was expectation and request. I have given you the pictures, which is what I felt you needed to know what you were looking at. But we can add these as state's exhibit. These are the original objection letters that Christy used in her decision. This is you, though. This is your decision. Christy made hers based on this, and you're hearing testimony and all of that about the opinions of both sides. But just so everything fair is fair, this is what we received prior to this. And I think some of these are from some of the same people that you're hearing talk today, and some of the letters that Mr. Snyder has already read to you are also included in these packets. And Susan and Alex, these have been emailed to you by Brandy.
And again, those are the original letters. The original letters are what I use to make my decision, which spurs a hearing. It is actually the state's call what evidence we want to present or not present. So at this point, we were going to try to keep it simple with just pictures for you guys, knowing that the individuals who wrote the letters were likely here to testify. It seems like not all of them came in person, obviously. But again, in an effort of giving you more information than not enough information, those are the original letters. And I will also point out, though, no one would have sent in any support. That is very unusual. So the support side of what you're hearing today is mostly from testimony of Mr. Ellis.
These letters are an objection to the issuance of a permit. We get these sometimes. We almost never receive letters in support because it's not an issue yet that this has been, objected on. These people, if they left their return address on their objection letter, they were notified by ABC of this hearing to come testify themselves. Some of the letters that Mr. Schneider read, I would have questions for those people based on those concerns, and they're not here. So that is why I did not originally give them to you. Not all of those people have showed up. Not all of those people I've spoken with. I've not heard their concerns personally. I've read a letter that they've written to ABC. I think this is just now me in the spirit of fairness and giving you more information, sharing them. But, that those people are not here except for, the few that we do have to cross-examine, to hear their 100% feelings about this.
And kind of what Drew's getting to is authentication. We just can't verify anything in the letters without them here to question them about it. But if you will take a couple seconds to review that, if anyone needs a break, we can take a 5-minute break if needed, or we can keep rolling with Detective Ratliff.
He and Mr. Ellis are the last two also.
Give us a couple minutes, man, because I'd like to read these. I got to put a little money in the meter.
All right, we'll take 5. There is a bathroom down here on this first floor past Slicks if anyone needs to use it.
Do I need to technically put
This
us in
conference
recess?
is no longer being recorded.
You were saying recess, Alex. That's fine. We got it.
Okay, yeah, we're in recess. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Christy, are we ready whenever y'all are?
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, Alex, we are ready for you to open us back up, please.
Okay. At this time, I call the meeting back to order.
Thank you, and we will pick up with Detective Ratliff from LRPD. Thank you for being here today.
You're free to give any testimony.
I'm Detective Ratliff. I work for the Little Rock Police Department. I've been working there since August 25th, 2014. I worked patrol all the way until February 2nd, 2019, where I became a vice detective. I've been on vice for 6 years now, a little bit over 6 years, going on 7. And I have been doing ABC permits for the city of Little Rock since around November of 2023. That's when I started doing it, but I've been on vice, which is a part of vice, since 2019, February 2019. This particular permit that we're talking about today, the Rocktown River Outfitters, I received it on 5/23/2025, and I began researching the permit. The way we typically organize permits are, once I received it, I sent off emails. I sent off emails to the city directors, as well as zoning, and then also our city manager, our city communications, who does social media, and they send it out to notify everyone of someone planning to apply, that's planning to apply for a permit. Excuse me. At that point, I wait for emails to come back from that. During this one, I received the email from zoning. Their position was they would approve based on, because they found out that it was a Parks and Recreation property. It was owned by the city. That property was owned by the city. So their approval of the zoning portion would be, I want to make sure I read this correctly. Hold on. The property is owned PR, which is Parks and Rec, and is a City of Little Rock owned property. And it says, do you have any more information on this location? And that's when I actually had sent them the emails that Mr. Ellis had sent me about from Leland Couch, who's Parks and Rec, that said that they were fine with doing this permit. Actually, I'm going to read it to you here. It's an email from Leland Couch on June 3rd, 2025. Samuel, the Parks Department support the idea of beer licenses at this location. I look forward to working with you on this operation. This is an email from Leland Couch that I was sent from Samuel Ellis. I sent it over to zoning, and at that point, zoning said that they would approve based on that recommendation from the city. I moved forward, but also too, we also put it on social media as well, so that people will be notified around, at least with our city of Little Rock, the police department, be notified of the permit being applied for. At that point, I scheduled an interview with Mr. Ellis, and I interviewed him on 6/3/2025, and we conducted an interview. It'll have a standard interview sheet that we personally go by for the Little Rock Police Department. Like I said, it's something separate from ABC. It's just something we do on our own personally. It's just something that we kind of go by, just a standard that we have to govern ourselves, to go through a process to help us make the best determination to see if, hey, are we opposed, or are we have any, do we or do we not have any objections to a permit? That's what I'm getting at, excuse me. During that interview, I remember speaking to Mr. Ellis and looking at the pictures. I remember going out there, and it was when I first saw it, it was a unique space because it's so close to the river, which drew concern just from that alone. Just looking at the proximity of the building to the river, And but not only that, but the openness of the space that was there. Um, we spoke about boundaries because there was no actual hard boundary lines there. Mr. Ellis then spoke about the boulders, kind of like we're on the second page. I'm looking right here. Those boulders, he kind of explained about how that was kind of almost like a natural barrier. But then I told him that, hey, that I wouldn't constitute that as a hard barrier that we can control alcohol. That's the biggest thing for us in the safety when it comes to Little Rock PD. We are looking at how can somebody control their alcohol. And it wasn't anything that when I looked at that space, it did not have anything there that would tell me that this could be properly controlled. Somebody could easily walk in and out the parking lot. It's just literally outside of those boulders. The water is right there. And then there's no type of hard barriers around that to stop someone. But also, too, as I say that, during the investigation, too, we also checked criminal backgrounds and other things as well as taxes. Mr. Ellis did not have anything of concern in those areas as well. So he did not prompt me to believe that he would be some irresponsible person or business owner. But like I said, the space, and we have heard other people speak about the space itself and how just the location itself, it poses a difficulties, as we wrote in our. I want to make sure I meet our memorandum too. Like I said, the boundaries, but also too, we thought about people also drowning due to them possibly even drinking there. Even though Mr. Ellis told me and he assured me that, hey, he would be watching people, but when you start to get so many people there, and me doing this for a while and seeing different outlets and how people can sometimes just slip through the crack, I'm not worried about the people that's there to do right. And also, too, I'm not saying there's people going to do wrong, but there will sometimes be people that may possibly slip through the cracks in the sense of, hey, he doesn't always have, it might not always be two people there, as he told me all the time. It may just be him there at times working the facility. And that right there could easily pose a problem just because, hey, he may be renting something, but these are large items that he's renting. With the bikes, he may have to get it from the rack or a kayak. And then at that point, my eyes and my head are turned, and I'm no longer making sure that, hey, I'm aware that where somebody is, somebody could easily walk off. They could be watching him to walk off. I've seen these things happen. Not to say that he would do that, not to say it would happen to him, but I have seen these things occur. So those kind of things, just lack of staffing at times, not all the time, but lack of staffing that he explained to me at times was very concerning to me in the controlling. But like I said, the main basis too is the lack of boundaries. And two, I know he said that he would be willing to do this, but a lot of times too, people say that they are willing to do something, but then they might not follow through fully. And then we could, just because it wasn't there, I can't say that I would be okay with saying, hey, everything's fine. He said he was going to do what he's going to do. Hey, I think we have no objections to this permit. But due to the fact that it was nothing there, I could not, do in good faith, say, hey, we have something there to stop the alcohol or control the alcohol on the in and of itself.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony. I have a couple follow-up questions. You said you were working off some sort of rubric or list of questions that LRPD has kind of formulated internally to help you guys decide whether or not to object, right?
Yes.
You do understand that our ABC agents are sworn law enforcement too, right?
Correct.
And they do a final inspection at the end. And you're familiar with the approved conditional process, right? Okay. Just want to make sure. Now, you said you worked Vice for how long?
It's been 6 years now.
Okay. For those of us who aren't cops, what kind of work does Vice do?
Vice, we investigate crimes as in human trafficking, prostitution, gambling, and alcohol crimes. So that's what we investigate. But also ABC permits is a part of it as well.
Is it fair to say that you've interviewed people before who are lying to you?
Yes, I have.
did you feel like Mr. Ellis was lying to you?
Not that particular day. No, I didn't feel like he was lying to me.
Has he ever lied to you? Do you have any reason to believe?
I'll say, that part, as of right now, I cannot say that he has lied to me. No.
Okay. Have you been misled in any way, shape, or form about the purpose of the business or the intent to get the building in shape to allow alcohol?
No, not this time.
Okay. And barriers, you talked a lot about barriers. Again, you're aware that ABC law, we require barriers, right? And have you ever run across an ABC establishment that hasn't been checked for barriers or that hasn't been approved by our office? Okay. And now I understand the concern too of lack of staffing. You do realize that's not a requirement in the law for you or for us, right? Okay. And you also know that an ABC permit does not require Mr. Ellis to be aware of the safety of people on the river or behind. He needs to act as a privileged permit holder for his premises, but it's not his responsibility to patrol that area. It sounds like he does a pretty good job, but you understand that's LRPD's problem, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
may I interject?
Sure.
In that, our main concern, like I talked about safety, but also too, because when I heard somebody earlier bringing up parks and drinking, there's no such thing as somebody drinking in a non-permitted area. There's
Correct.
no such thing. That's called drinking in public. That's what that's called.
That's exactly where I was.
That's against the law.
That's exactly where I was going to
and
that.
we actually arrest quite a few people for that, for drinking in public, and that was some of our concerns. Because it was a free flow area that that could have possibly occurred, and we were very concerned about things of that nature.
And LRPD responds to this park, right? It's in the middle of town.
Yes, it's part of
Okay.
our.
And do you understand that there is a violation? There is a ABC administrative violation that also could go with drinking in public. So whether you catch them, they get a citation. If we catch them, they get an administrative violation. So fair to say that both sides would have penalties if there was any drinking in public, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to cover some of those things. Drew, do you have any questions?
I do have a couple follow-ups. So is there a specific city ordinance against drinking in city parks? Because, like, for instance, there is in the city of Maumelle. Is that an issue in Little Rock?
That I cannot say off the top of my head, but I know it's just a law for drinking in public.
Okay.
It's just that's the usually typically charge we use drinking in public.
And I know that your objection letter to Director Bjornson, which is included in the packets that I've given to our board members, did say that your concern, the main thing that you stated was that you had received multiple objections from the public. Can you tell us your procedures for getting that objection and how those were received?
The way we, like I spoke about the social media side of it, once the information is disseminated throughout our social media sites, then at that point they would contact us either by phone or by email. Pretty much every single objection letter that I received was by email, and I put that a part of our investigation, our files that we have. But we always tell people, hey, this is informal, and that when you do it, you need to actually talk to ABC themselves to make a formal objection. So I don't know who all I make every single person. I let them know on how to do that and the number to call, and if it need to be an email or anything like that, I told them. It was up to them at that point to formally submit those objections.
So the city is sort of doing a social media notification to
the
public.
The city of
Okay, and you said that you sent notice or letters to city officials. Did you receive any feedback from that with objections?
No.
Okay, and you do know that any violation of the permit can result in the permit being revoked, correct?
Yes.
All right. That's all I have, Mr. Ellis. If you have any questions for Detective Ratcliffe.
No, I think I've asked you most of the questions for everything else. So, no. When are you going to come see me get kayaking?
Board members, any questions for Detective Ratliff?
I do.
Okay.
Is it legal for somebody to take a beer out of their car and now stand by Mr. Ellis's business and drink it?
No, ma'am, because it's not a permitted area. And even too, I'll say this, I'll go a step further. If he did get granted this permit, and they entered into his permitted area with alcohol, that is against ABC rules as well. So I just want to put that in there too.
And that's to prevent any kind of overservice. If I'm sneaking a shot in my flask and he doesn't know it, he might overserve me. So they have to be very vigilant about who's bringing what in to make sure that they know how many drinks people have consumed. And he would receive a violation if we found out that that was occurring. Any more questions from board members?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Detective Ratliff. I appreciate it. Mr. Ellis, this is your time to speak freely. Drew may have some follow-up questions. And then once Mr. Ellis is done, we can do probably quick closing arguments if needed, if the board even wants us to do quick closing arguments, if that'll work. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Most of my notes here, I think I can cross off because we've already covered a lot of the things I wanted to say about what I do, who I am, what I do for the community and for the city park. But I have started my own business, and I've brought outdoor recreation to the park where you can now enjoy the water, the little Maumelle River. You can own your own kayak because we supply all the rental service and safety equipment. I think most of the letters of opposition have come because they misunderstood my reasoning, what I want to do. I'm not trying to start a bar. I'm just trying to give our guests a little extra something of appreciation to really put the thumbprint of Little Rock locals on each of their visits. When they get off the water right now, Little Maumelle River is in a food desert essentially because there is nowhere to get water or food unless you go up a big steep hill, which is usually a drive. So I started offering cold bottles of water, Gatorade, snacks, and it really made the difference when people got off the water and they got to sit down, take a break, cool off in the shade. We provide shade and umbrellas and picnic tables that I've brought from home for seating. So I've never seen a grown man so happy when you bring a cold popsicle out after they've been on the water. And so I really thought that maybe a local craft beer would also be something to offer them along with their water snacks. This will be in a contained area in front of my boathouse where it'll be seen by me or my staff, whether I'm in the boathouse, because we have big garage doors that are open. If I'm getting kayaks out of the rack, it will actually be between that. It can be a hard barrier, no problem. I don't mind. I want to make sure that we make something that works for regulation, but also works good and looks nice for the city as far as aesthetics. Really, I just want to make this unique, and I want to make it fun for people. I want to make sure it's safe. I think that you guys would really enjoy coming down and seeing for yourselves, to be honest. It's a beautiful area. I agree with Vic. It is a national treasure, I think. And that's why I've invested so much of my own personal money and time and effort into the park. So building the boathouse, getting the kayak and rental services, and supplying even picnic tables and popsicles. I just think this would be something else nice for us to offer our locals with control, and it would be something that makes Little Rock and this park a little bit even more unique. So I think that is really all I wanted to say, other than I hope you guys do come hop on the water with me or on the bike trail.
Any questions for Mr. Ellis? Actually, I'll let Drew go first. Sorry, I got out of order.
Mr. Ellis, did you bring any letters today?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then are those things that you wish the board to have? Okay.
If you don't mind passing them to Lila. Lila, if you could do that. Mr. Blossom, Ms. Peacock, I believe these have been emailed to you. You can now open and review. And we'll give you guys just a few moments to look over that. And I just want to clarify too, closing arguments are only to be done by Mr. Ellis and myself. If you guys have any more questions of any witnesses, Drew can recall me or recall anyone else.
I think we do have a clarification point for you.
Okay, Drew can recall me.
Okay.
I'll recall Christy after Mr. Ellis is
Oh,
done.
right. Keep me on procedure, Drew.
Yep.
Thank you for providing
Yes.
copies.
Sam, do you have the t-shirt business too? Is that you?
No, I get mistaken for that all the time. That's Rock City Kicks.
All right.
Rock City.
Curious.
Yes, you are. We've been mistagged lots of times on social media. So
You guys
we're
should
good
join
friends.
up.
We have
Yeah.
sell their shirts and they tell about our kayaks and bikes.
Awesome.
As everyone's going through these, I just want to make some clarifications here. These letters are from what type of person? Are they residents, business owners?
That front page, I didn't expect you guys to actually take the time to read all of them. It was weird in silence, knowing you're all just reading letters about it. But the front page there is just a list of who the letters are from and what their role is. So we've got Little Rock Board of Directors, as Vice President, I messed that up, sorry. Arkansas Canoe Club, which is a community of voters that we host their chapter meetings at our location. Little Rock residents, Walton Heights residents. There's a lot of people that live in the neighborhood or that use the park or have actually used my services.
Okay, thank you.
I'll go ahead and move over to my seat. Thank you to everyone for being here today. I know this is a little bit lengthier than most of our ABC meetings.
Is everyone ready for me to continue? I don't want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Ellis, you, just to reiterate, you do live in this area in the zip code?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're down at the park often. How often would you say?
I would say during the week, at least once a day, not from 9 a.m. before we open, or 8 before we open at 9 a.m. Usually I try and get people out of there by 6 because I need to go home or get ready for a sunset tour.
Okay.
We're there very, very much throughout the week.
All right. And then do your tours take place at the same time that rowing is going on?
Some do. I think the rowing schedule does a lot in the mornings. I know that they also get on the water quite often in the evenings.
Okay.
Board members, any questions for Mr. Ellis?
I don't think I've got anything for you.
I guess a final question as the director of ABC. If you were granted this permit conditionally, do you swear that you would follow all the laws and regulations and read up in our rule book and make sure you're operating within the confines of the law?
All of them. I do. I will.
And you will pay any violation that you may or may not receive, or come to this board and explain why you think you don't deserve a violation if you were to receive one?
Yes, ma'am.
That was all I had for Mr.
Okay,
Ellis.
so if we're done with questions for Mr. Ellis, I will move on just for a couple questions for Christine. I know that you, Andrew, said that you had one, so we can get to that. Christy, can you explain to us kind of the procedure of when we get an application in our office, like how that is collected and put in our system and who looks at it and all of the things about the procedural aspect.
Yeah, I get a little ticky-tacky and this is no shade to any witness, it's a very complex set of rules. And so I get a little ticky-tacky when people are like, well, you didn't do this, this, and this. We follow our rule book to a T, and it is a very complex set of notifications, procedures, all that type of stuff. I think Mr. Ellis can speak to how complicated the application process can be at times. When we receive an application, first it starts with what application do I need? You guys know we have 69-ish different types of ABC permits. So first they call our office, I'm trying to sell beer. I want to focus on Arkansas beer. What type of permit do I need? Someone from our staff likely suggested a native permit, or in conversations that came up with like, okay, that's just a little something we can add extra. If someone is specifically saying, well, I want liquor, I want mixed drinks, we know that we're not looking at a beer permit, we're looking at a restaurant mixed drink. If they're in a dry county, we know we're looking at a private club. All of those things require notification to the public. They require background checks from us. Individuals will actually go to live scan. It goes through state police back to us. We review the background of every person. They have to list a manager with us. We check residency requirements. We check all kinds of things. So first the application comes in. Oftentimes there's a period of time where we are waiting for the notice in the newspaper to conclude. And so we tell people when they apply, it's about a 30 to 60 day process, because by the time they start the application, it really ultimately is the next board meeting before they could even potentially get approved. All of my approvals are just kind of pending until you guys officially approve the issuance of a permit. That's why we do not actually print permits until the day after an ABC board meeting. Our law actually prescribes that those permits do not become effective until the day after the board meeting, for this reason right here. So whether I had approved or denied Mr. Ellis's permit, we would still be here because of the trigger from an elected official objecting. So I kind of went off topic a little bit, but we get the applications, we run them. A document examiner reviews them. An attorney reviews them. Brandy Ward, our office manager, reviews them. Ultimately, it lands in my office, and if there's an objection, normally with a red flag on it from Miss Brandy to tell me, hey, read these letters, pull out your rule book, look at the factors, and consider. I talked about the factors earlier, so I'm not going to rehash all of that.
And you did go through earlier some of the other permitted outlets kind of in the area, but I want to go broader to the state of Arkansas, and we're talking here about tourism, and that's been brought up by people on both sides. How is this tourism? How can we make tourism better in the state of Arkansas and attract more people to our parks, to city parks, state parks, trails, bike trails? Are there any permits that are on bike trails currently?
Yes. Northwest Arkansas has done a big push. I think, matter of fact, the governor's office and her husband made a huge push for bike trails in Northwest Arkansas. I think Ms. Peacock, our board members from Northwest Arkansas, she works with Crystal Bridges. And part of that, too, is a combination of let's enjoy what Arkansas has to offer. This is the natural state. So we are seeing an increase in alcohol permits. I did not realize alcohol was so connected to tourism, but when people travel or when people want to have fun, oftentimes alcohol is associated with that. Even at our work conferences, in those cities that we're going to, they're telling us what bars to check out, what local areas we can go have dinner with a view of the river, same type of thing.
And you mentioned that the state parks can now issue permits on their own, but before that, for years, have there been any state parks that have had alcohol permits?
Yes. I believe Petty Jean did. I know there's one on Lake DeGray. I'm not sure if that's a state park. And then there's another one that had been in the works. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know I've looked at least 3 different park permits. Now that Parks has the authority to kind of issue their own, we help more on the enforcement and question side of things, but they do their own issuing of the permits.
And I know that we've talked about this before in front of the board and just in general. There are facilities where children do go regularly, practice sports regularly, that do have alcohol permits. Is that correct?
That is correct. I don't know if you guys know on Cantrell, it's like got trains that deliver your food to get the kids excited about it. I've been there and I've had a beer. They have a beer permit, and that is predominantly catered towards children. I do also remember the first time I saw a Chuck E. Cheese application, and I was like, Chuck E. Cheese sells booze? I didn't know that, but they do. Every single one of them sells alcohol. Bowling alleys, routine places like that. You've also got the athletic club and the racket club where kids have swim meets, kids have tennis practice, all those types of things. The pool at the racket club is a happening place. Kids and adults alike, they have a permit there.
And that is all the questions I have for the director. So, Mr. Ellis, if you have any questions for her, I know we've already kind of gone over this, but since we recalled her, you have any other questions?
No, I think all my questions are answered so far. Thank you very much.
And board, do you have any questions for the director?
Yes. Okay. Director,
Yes.
we want to confirm this isn't a denial status.
It was in a denial status, but like I mentioned earlier, we don't issue permits until you guys rule on them.
Okay. One last thing. One thing that sticks out, Ms. Graves, something you said sticks out to me. You said it seems like a decision has already been made. I think the reason that decision it feels that way is because they've met all criteria except the objection from the police department.
Correct, to receive a conditional approval.
Okay.
So again, a conditional approval, he would still have to work with our office to meet all of the legal requirements as far as setting boundaries and premises and everything like that.
Okay. I do want you to know your comments stood out to me. Thank you.
Do we get any closing on this side or no?
You don't, you're actually the witnesses for us. Thank you.
I have a question for the director.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it common for the Little Rock Police Chief to send a letter?
It is not common. I have never received an objection from the chief of police. I actually called yesterday to see if he would take my call and if he was going to come himself, but he did not take my call and he is not here today. He sent a representative. I will point out his letter just says we object based on community stuff. His letter, I believe, is included in your packet, so you can
I didn't see that letter. Did I miss it? I was looking for it specifically, so.
I thought it was in that stack, but let me double check.
And again, we select what evidence we provide to you guys, and we were kind of trying to limit how much we threw at you today, but in an effort of transparency, if you guys want to see it, I believe it should have been in that packet. If not, you have it right here.
I was gonna say
I can read
I'd
it
be in a
into
different
the record,
place.
that makes it easy.
Yeah, why don't we just do that?
Okay. So from Heath Helton, the chief of police, this is actually not addressed to me. It is addressed to the mayor, and the mayor did not respond in any fashion to me, nor in any fashion to LRPD. So,
I have the one that actually did.
the Special Investigations Division of the Little Rock Police Department has received and investigated an ABC permit request from the above mentioned business, Rocktown Outfitters, 4612 River Mountain Road. During this investigation, it was determined the police department should object for the following reason. During SID Detective Ratliff's investigation, concerns were raised about the proximity of the location to the Arkansas River with no established boundaries or fencing for designated alcohol consumption on premises. In addition, at least 10 residents have contacted the LRPD to express their opposition to this permit. For these reasons, I recommend we object to this permit. Again, that was from Heath Helton to Frank Scott, but that's what was submitted to me as the opposition letter. We do not have a response from Mayor Scott, nor have I ever spoken to the chief of police. I have worked directly with Detective Ratliff, though I did attempt to call him and speak with him yesterday.
Any other questions from the board at this time?
If not, I can do a brief close, and I promise I will keep it as brief as I possibly can.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Like I said, you guys get somewhere between 50 to 100 permit applications every month. It is somewhat rare that we have denials at all. I like to see Little Rock grow. I like to see businesses grow. I like to see small businesses be successful. It is always hard for me when I'm put in a position with an elected official providing me a short letter. But with them being the agency that knows traffic congestion and criminal activity a little bit better than us, we have typically deferred to them. That was done here. In this case, though, looking at all the factors, it really truly is a judgment call here. You've obviously got concerned, responsible, well-spoken, articulate citizens with legitimate concerns. They're worried about children. But I hate to see certain permits held to a different standard that others are not. Like we mentioned, Chuck E. Cheese's, athletic clubs, all that type of stuff. So I can appreciate that the process allows for an objection. I can appreciate that it's a complicated process both for our applicants and for those who want to object. In this case, I really want to empower the board. This is y'all's decision to do what you think is right for the city of Little Rock and for the state of Arkansas. If your concerns are big enough that you don't trust Mr. Ellis can sell a can of beer safely, then you should uphold my decision. If you think that Mr. Ellis has proven to you today that responsibly sell a can of beer to a bike rider, then you should deny my decision and you should allow him his permit. You guys are often put in a situation, honestly, I could use you as cover if I wanted. If I wanted to not make the tough calls, we could be here every time with you guys deciding it. I try not to do that to you, but this is one of the ones where it could go either way. We've got lots of very, very good reasons to allow this permit. It will bring tourism. It is enjoyable for people. There are other permits all around very similar. I don't necessarily believe that it's fair for one individual to not receive something when there's no legal reason why they shouldn't. But that is the exact reason why we have factors and we have posting requirements, notice requirements. That's why LRPD puts in all the effort to do their own investigation. So I really want to empower the board. I want you guys to discuss this. I want you guys to talk about it. And I would like for you to come to a conclusion today that makes sense for the citizens of Arkansas as far as their safety. And that also makes sense for Mr. Ellis. I haven't seen anything that proves to me today that he wouldn't be a responsible permit holder. I've also explained the conditional approval process. I think he's testified that he would work to do it in a safe manner. I respect both sides for their participation today. And I can respect that, one side's going to leave here feeling a little bummed out. So I can also respect that puts you guys in a tough position, but I really want to empower you guys today to just discuss about it. I hope that at this point you've heard enough from both of us. You probably don't need to ask many more questions. I'd really like you guys to discuss what you think is right. And that's my closing. Mr. Ellis, do you have anything else?
No, thank you very much. I just really hope that we can offer this to help out and include tourism. And as a local and small business owner, I'm just, again, trying to do what I think is best for not just the city, but also the park that I take care of and love very much.
So, Mr. Blass, if you would like to open up for deliberations, unless one of the board members has a specific question or motion that needs to be made, I'm going to go ahead and move back to my seat.
Yeah, if there's no other questions at this time, then I think we'll open it up to the board for a motion. Does anyone have a motion they're ready to present?
Yeah, I will make the motion to overturn the director's decision to deny this permit.
And
Okay, we
also,
have a second.
sorry, Alex, just to interrupt, can we just procedurally also include that that's a conditional approval based on some necessities?
All right,
On
I will
ABC
make a
exempt.
motion to overturn the director's denial and issue a conditional.
And I'll second that.
Brandy, do we need to include in the motion any conditions at this time, or just say that it's conditional up to, the ABC?
No, Alex, you guys don't have to list out the specific conditions. That's all based on what the legal requirements are in the application. So we check those on our end.
They will have to have a final inspection anyways.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we didn't need to include any of that. So we've got a motion and a second on the floor, ready for a vote. At this time, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you all for your time today. This hearing is, well, this point of the meeting is concluded, but we do have, I believe, a little bit more, Chrissy, with you at the end of the meeting we needed to go through as far as board meeting dates and any other updates at this time.
We do, and I just want to clarify for the record, Chairman Blass, were you a yay vote?
He was
Yes.
Okay.
You can come with yay.
And then also, if I know you guys didn't discuss much, but before the opposition leaves, if you care to explain where your motion came from or provide any feedback, now would be your time to explain that. And it's not required, just if you want to. Okay.
Okay.
This hearing's adjourned. I appreciate the participation from everyone. Mr. Ellis, any of your pending paperwork, we can contact you. Brandy Ward will be your best friend. She helps me do all the things that we need to do. So she can
You're
walk you through
actually going to get the same way that you got notification from us. You're going to get an order from the board that states kind of what they just said and the rules that we went through and everything.
I think that was some of the issues of getting letters and not being there.
Yeah. If just in general, if there is a better address to put on as your mailing address where someone will likely be receive that, and it doesn't have to be you. I mean, you know, if Holly if she's somewhere, usually she can sign for you. Just let Lila know, and we can get your mailing address fixed up in our system. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry to drag you down here today.
Very
All right.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys are welcome to stay and watch PowerPoint if you need to. If not, you're free to leave. Okay, board, thank you for your attention. If we need a break, we can. If not, we'll keep rolling.
Y'all are gonna have to give me 1 second to get the PowerPoint up.
Drew's gonna switch over. I will take everybody. I have seen the new seminar room at 1509 DK building. It is white and it has fully glass walls, like frosted glass walls with a lobby outside, and it seats 60 people. And it will have a brilliant television on each pole and like 100-inch behind us. So it should be really decked out for us when we finally get over there. We're
What's happening next?
that the vendor.
Do you have a date on when we're making that?
Yes, we were told that the vendor will be complete by the end of this month. So we're hoping our November meeting will be at our new building. Brandy will obviously be in communication with you guys about that, and we can help you figure out where to park. We'll send you all the information that's needed. And so Alex and Susan, we're going to put the PowerPoint up so we don't anymore, but you can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Or did we lose them?
Say that again because we're having to.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Give us just a second on the PowerPoint.
It's not coming.
Miss Lila, could you help us?
I don't think. Anyway,
Wasn't IT sitting right there? Where'd it go? You left.
There we go.
Okay. We'll figure it out. Okay. Susan and Alex, can you see the PowerPoint?
I don't see it.
I'm not seeing it either.
I can see like the very bottom of it. But I don't know if you can move that camera.
On the mouse.
If you can't share your screen, I wonder if you want to just email us the PowerPoint.
Oh, I should be able to.
Yes. Give us
I
just.
can't. The organizer. I'm not on the Scott one, so you're gonna have to give me permission.
We'll email it to you, but I'll give the rundown by looking at Drew's screen.
Cool.
Okay. So.
She should be able to give me permission.
I can look at it little. Just scroll through it.
Let me just pay for this to.
Just go through it right there. I'll do it.
Well, they don't have.
inaugural last week.
Yeah, this room. Okay, well, we've got something. There we go. Okay, can you guys see that now?
Yes, I
Awesome.
can see it now.
Okay, so we've been busy as always. Drew, if you'll skip to the next one for me. We have a new board member and a very exciting day for you. Welcome to ABC. Sorry that Hannah Ray is not here today in person and that Susan and Alex are on the screen, but hopefully next time in our new board meeting, we will all be in person. We love you guys to be in person, one for technology, but two, just to be able to kind of discuss things and see each other and catch up. We understand things come up. We will always still do remote, online. Matter of fact, we're going to get to a policy here in a little bit we'll just go ahead and do it right now, honestly. We are going to do a remote meeting attendance policy. Don't let this be scary or more than it is. This is required by DFA at this point because we had a continuing legal education about FOIA, and the Attorney General's office asked everybody to please have a written policy. The law doesn't actually require a written policy, it just requires a policy, and we've kind of adopted that policy by practice. So now we're just getting it down on paper. That policy says that the chairperson will determine whether a board meeting is to be held in person, remotely, or in combination. And if he doesn't specifically say, then it will be a combo standard format like how we've been doing. Are there any questions, concerns about that? I like everybody in person if we have a hearing, but again, I understand what happens. Okay, so if you guys will very quickly actually make a motion to approve that, keep it clean for us, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the new meeting policy standard for ABC board meetings moving forward.
And it,
You have a second?
I'll
Was
second.
it? Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Why is Brandy laughing over there? She's distracting.
Thank you, board.
Sorry.
Yeah, this remote attendance policy, it's just kind of a checkbox. We're doing it at all of our meetings now. Okay, so moving right back on. Ms. DeJarnette, do you have any questions or would you like to make a speech in your welcoming meeting?
Speech.
I think I've made enough decisions for one day.
Okay, well, we're excited to have you here. And again, any questions you have, call Brandy or I, or anyone in this room, and we would be happy to help you. Seminars. We are still rolling with the first Friday of the month, October 3rd, which was Taylor Swift Day, was very busy. 70 people attended our seminar, which keeps our attorneys super busy. Next up, we sent out 26 offers covering 41 violations and 4 warnings on the alcohol side of things. That's an amount of fine payments and just over $13,000, excuse me. We have 1 director's hearing scheduled out to December, but since we've seen you last, we haven't had any. On the marijuana side of things, we've had 4 offers accepted covering 47 violations and 6 warnings. Those are fine in the amount of over $35,000. We don't have any directors hearings scheduled out to November, but we have had one since the last time we saw you. So if they ever appeal, you guys might see that one. Next one. We are going to a conference. Keisha, Brandy, and myself are all going to be going to Austin, Texas next week for the National Associations of Licensing and Compliance Professionals. It's really a chain restaurant, large retailer type conference. For years and years and years, they have been saying, Arkansas has really jacked up alcohol laws. Will you please attend this conference and explain it to us? And so they finally got in touch with me this year, and I said, sure. So we're going to be doing a legislative panel where I'm going to be speaking about all the new bills that have passed. And then we're also going to be doing a regulator roundtable where our staff will staff an entire table for a couple hours, and other states, companies, anybody will be able to come up to us and ask us questions about our regulations. So we're hoping it will be a good conference that maybe we attend again, but this is the first time we're going, so we're not exactly sure what to expect. In the news, I got to brag on our agents. Big time effort on our agents. We did a press release last week. Our agents at that time had seized over 6,000 intoxicating hemp-derived products. They had issued a couple felonies and several misdemeanors. Those felonies were stemming out of behavior where the retailers were purposefully lying and concealing about trying to sell the products. We had one retailer who was hiding them in a baseboard, and our agent catches him kicking a baseboard open, doing an undercover buy. And now we know that you are purposefully trying to sell hemp products without us knowing about it. Others were segregated in the back. They just hadn't gotten rid of them. Still a violation, still a controlled substance. This was just last week. This week, we're already up to over 8,000 products. They are continuously working. Our evidence room smells very interesting right now, and it is full of tubs of these products. So we're super proud of them, and that's a continuing effort until we don't see any more hemp, I guess.
Until it's gone.
Yeah. The next thing, the government shutdown. How will that affect the alcohol industry? Anybody who applies for us as a manufacturer or someone who does brand registration. So every single label on a beer can, a wine can, all of that goes through the federal TTB. And TTB is working on essential staff only. So they are not issuing new colas. They are not providing new permits. So even if someone wants to change their label, they have to wait until the federal government has reissued employees back to TTB to keep that going. So that will create a backlog depending on how long it lasts. So that's kind of where we're at in the news. What else do we have, Drew? I think that's it. So any questions before we set the next couple board meetings? Okay. We are looking at November 19th. Again, Brandy will send you guys confirmation, but hopefully that will be in the seminar room at 1509. Brandy, do we know if there's a hearing yet, or we're not sure yet?
I don't believe there is a hearing.
Let me have what's the new address now?
1509 West 7th Street. And it's right over there by the Capitol. There's two DFA buildings. If you're looking at the Capitol from the front, it's on the left across the street.
It's right across from the Justice Building and the Supreme Court, across 7th Street from that.
But does anyone have any objection to November 19th?
Not.
Yeah, sorry, let me get them back up.
Okay, now we're looking at you. Susan and Alex, are you guys good on November 19th?
I'm
Yes,
just
ma'am.
looking at the calendar. Yeah, that works because it's the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. And then we'll go ahead and set December 10th. That'll keep us a little bit far away from Christmas so that we're not getting too close to holiday season.
Yes, and I think we had those
Yeah,
previously.
that does work.
Okay. And then the next one will be January 21st. I cannot believe we're even talking about 2026.
January 21st.
My sister's birthday.
21st of January.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that keeps us clear of the Christmas break for schools, right, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your February board meeting, if I am here, something has gone terribly wrong. I should be on my honeymoon. But I actually have some news to share. We have hired an assistant administrator. She does not start until October 21st, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to get a little bit of help here. So I am ecstatic about it. We had really good applicants. Potter and I had 5 different interviews. We did formal scoring process because I need this person to be able to come in and help out and work hard. And I think we have found just that person. So whereas Trent used to be the regulatory administrator and I was the director, this is going to look a little bit different. I'm still the director of ABC. I'm still the director of tobacco. I'm still the regulatory administrator. This is a second in command who will work on all the same things that I work on. Now we're calling her assistant administrator because that is her title in the plan. But I will talk to Jim Hudson about what exactly we want to refer to her as. But it is not a new ABC director. I have already heard rumors about that from lobbyists, but that is not the case. So any questions about that?
What did we set a date in February?
February 18th.
Okay. All right. I've got it in my system. If we don't have anything else, I think we are probably good to call it.
Okay,
It's not
Brandy
gonna be that for December,
is highlighting something. So the seminar room that we're going to be using at 1509 is DFA's new Pride and Joy. They want everybody to use that room. And so going forward, we are going to be a little bit more tied to the third Wednesday, which y'all are pretty good about staying on the third Wednesday. If you move, it's normally because we tell you to. But we are going to have to try to pay attention to that. Even today, I found out in the middle of the hearing that the Racing Commission could not log on to their meeting because we were still hogging the go-to. So there's lots of shared services within DFA that we have to kind of coordinate. So we will probably try to stick to the third Wednesday as close as we can to make sure we have our time slotted for the meeting room. Thank you for that, Brandy. Anything else? Any questions? Anything to debrief on the hearing? I know that was a lot to throw at you, and it's kind of unusual that I'm telling you it's okay to disagree with me. But if I feel that way, obviously you guys always can. But you know that I'll be transparent with you if I feel strongly about something. Alex, you're on mute.
Sorry, I've got a cold and I'm trying to keep myself muted so I'm not hearing me hack.
I got
I'm sorry about that. All right, if there's nothing else at this time, we can call the meeting adjourned. But thank you all for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.